What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to be reviewing a game called Tycoon, Parker Brothers stock market game. Now, the object of this game is you're going to be trying to bankrupt all of your opponents. I'm sure that sounds familiar. Of course, this game is going to be done differently. In this game, you're going to be attempting to own corporations, and from there, you're going to try to buy offices in those corporations in order to try to force your opponent to pay you money. Now, there's trading that can go on similar to Monopoly, and this game was also bought and remade from another company later on called Arbitrage, and they added a couple of rules which makes this game flow a lot better and go better. So I'm going to just show you how this game works, and I'm going to show you how the new rules work as well. Check it out! Okay, folks, welcome to the game. I'm going to just go and show you some of the components really quick. This is the game board. There are 6 different corporations that you can see over here. Each of these corporations has a couple of pegs, and what these pegs do is they indicate what the stock price is. Now, in the very beginning of the game, you're going to start the stock price off on the par. So this corporation is cost $100, this one is worth $30, and so on. These are going to be the stock prices that you're going to be starting with. These are the share cards right over here. Anytime you land on a space that is of a corporation, say the orange space, you're going to have the opportunity to purchase a share in that corporation. If you manage to get 3 shares in the corporation out of the 5, you are going to become the president of that corporation, which will then allow you to buy what's called the sales offices. They're numbered 1 through 6. This is worth $100 and this is worth $600. Whenever you play these are going to jack up the prices of your stock. These sales office pieces will force your opponent to pay you money. You cannot force your opponent to pay you money unless he lands on a sales office. These are the dice. There's a special die here. It just has a U and a D. This means up and down. Anytime you land on a home office, whatever this dice indicates whether or not the stock is going to go up or down. So let's say I rolled an 11 and I moved my pawn over here. The up would indicate that this is going to move up 11, so I will then move the stock up to $41. And if I decide to buy a share in that, I will have to pay the $41. Okay, these here are the Wall Street report cards. These are simple cards that will just follow the instructions on them. They work like chance and community chess cards and Monopoly, and there's spaces that you can land on, these Wall Street report spaces right over here. This is the savings account area. There are spaces that are going to force you to deposit money in the savings account, $25 usually, but there's also a collect savings account, and if you get this, you're going to collect all the money that is in here. All right, and of course this is the cash money. Everybody's going to be starting off with $1,900. So everybody's going to go ahead and start here, and someone's going to go ahead and roll the dice, and in this case we rolled an 11, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so what's going to happen is this is going to move the stock up 11 points, so it's going to go up to $61. And I can choose to go ahead and buy 1 share if I so choose. If I decide to buy a share, I will go ahead and put the $61 in there, and I will go ahead and pick up this share and put it in my hand, and therefore I will own 1 share. Now, whenever I am able to get 3 shares of a corporation out of the 5, I'm going to become that corporation's president. And what that is going to allow me to do is going to allow me to buy these home offices that I had just talked about. Basically, the price is whatever the number is times 100. So this one cost $100, and this basically will charge the opponent whatever the amount is here on the stock. This one will cost $500. This will times the amount here by 5, etc. And there's 6 of these things. There are spaces here that says stockbroker commissioner, pay bank $5 per share. That basically means that however many shares you own, you're going to pay the bank $5 per share. Now, a unique rule in this game is that if, let's say you have some sales offices over here because you own 3 of these shares right here, and let's say your opponent lands on this. He lands on it, and right now the price is $30, so he would owe $90. However, if he owns 1 or 2 shares of that corporation, he's going to pay less. And the way it works is, for every share that he owns, you're going to subtract $20 from the price that he owes you. So an example, he owes you $90, but since he has 2 shares, he's going to only owe you $50 instead. So it's a good thing to try to get as many of these shares as you can, because your opponent will end up having to spend more money. So anyway, the game basically just goes around and around. If you land on these spaces, nothing happens. Every time you pass this president collection over here, if you're the president of the corporation, you're going to receive that amount of money from the bank every time. So if you own this one, you have $100. If you pass this, you'll get $150, etc. And essentially, you can also trade off shares to each other. You can bargain. You can do whatever you want to do. You can also sell back the offices and sell back the shares if you so desire. But ultimately, what's going to happen is eventually everybody's going to run out of money except for one person, and that is going to be the end of the game. Now, in the arbitrage game, which is the upgrade to this game, they added two rules that, in my opinion, make this game better. One is the merger. What happens in the merger is if you become president of two corporations or more, then you're going to have a chance to merge your corporations together. What you will do is you will pay $100 per corporation that you want to merge, and then you're going to jack up the stock prices by 50 in each of those merged corporations. And if you end up becoming president of another corporation, you can do it again. The other rule is the corporate takeover. And in this game, I just use some tiles to label the spaces because in this game it's not labeled. What happens with the corporate takeover, if you're a minority shareholder and you land on this space, you can actually force someone to sell you at 3 or more of his shares. You'll basically pay him double the amount of whatever the stock price is. So in this case, if I were to force my opponent to sell me 3 of these, it would cost me $180. I would have no choice but to give me the shares. And so that's how a corporate takeover would work. It's a harder game to find, but if you're a fan of those type of games, this is a game you might like. Ciao.